Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, I am starting for you the next chapter, pressure in fluids and atmospheric pressure. So, before you want to know what is pressure, we have to know about one term that is known as thrust. Nothing new today I am teaching because in 8th standard details you studied. Anyway, what is thrust? Thrust is the force that acts perpendicularly on a surface, that is known as thrust. Okay, so how you can define thrust? It is the force acting normally on a surface is known as thrust. So as it is a force and force is a vector quantity we know, so thrust is a vector quantity. Alright, and as thrust is a force, SI unit of thrust is Newton, and in gravitational SI unit of thrust is kgf, and you know kilogram force, and you know 1 kgf is equal to 9.8 Newton. Okay, so all these points are related with the thrust. You are supposed to learn and remember. Then the next term is coming pressure. What is pressure? Thrust acting per unit area. I am talking about solid pressure. I am not talking about fluid pressure. Okay, this is solid pressure, means pressure exerted by a solid body. Pressure exerted by a solid body, it is given by thrust per unit area. So symbolically one can write P is equal to F by A. Then what is the SI unit of pressure? SI unit of pressure is Pascal, as it is the name of one scientist. That's why P small, and the abbreviation is big P but small a. And you know, pressure is force upon area. So, SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of area is meter square. So, you can write 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. So, when 1 Newton force acts perpendicularly on 1 meter square area, then the pressure exerted by the body is equal to 1 Pascal. Alright. So, you can write down the definition of Pascal from the last relation. What I said, if 1 Newton force acts perpendicularly on an area of 1 meter square, then the pressure acting on the surface is 1 Pascal. So as we know, SI unit of pressure is Pascal, but generally we use other units of pressure also. I have just noted it down that we use the other unit of pressure as bar. Bar is another unit of pressure, and remember 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square, means 1 bar is equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal. And we use still smaller unit, that is millibar. Millibar means what? Milli means what is the power of 10? Minus 3, isn't it? So 1 millibar is 10 to the power minus 3 bar. So you see how much it will be Newton per meter square or Pascal. 5 then minus 3. 5 minus 3 how much? 2. So it is 10 square or 100 Newton per meter square. Generally, to measure the atmospheric pressure, we use another unit which is known as 1 ATM. ATM is not the money, means the machine from where we can get the money. Here, ATM stands for atmosphere. Okay, 1 ATM means the pressure exerted by 0.76 meter of mercury. Hg is mercury. So why I have written 0.76 meter of mercury? It means it is the pressure exerted by 0.76 meter of mercury. And if you convert it into Pascal, then it comes 1.013 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal by using the formula H rho G. H will be equal to 0.76 meter. Density of mercury is 13.6 into 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube, and the value of G is 9.8. Okay, so by using that formula one can find out what is 1 atmosphere. 1.013 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Then another unit of pressure after the name of the famous physicist Torricelli is 1 torr. This TORR, this term is coming from the name of the scientist Torricelli, physicist. So 1 torr is equal to pressure exerted by 1 millimeter of mercury. So generally we write that pressure exerted by 1 millimeter of mercury, that details we do not write. If we write 1 millimeter of mercury, it means it is the pressure exerted by 1 millimeter of mercury column. and 1 atmospheric pressure is equal to 760 torr. So these are the important relations related with other units of pressure. Next topic is factors affecting the pressure. Now in case of solid, that's why I have written within bracket solid. You know that as per this relation, for a given thrust, okay, you can increase pressure by decreasing the area. That's why you know that the nails or anything you want to fix on the walls that is having a sharp edge. Sharp edge, what it is doing, decreasing the area and thereby increasing the pressure. So easily you can fix the nail on the wall. And then you will see that any cutting tools having a very sharp edge. Why the sharp edge? Sharp edge means the area is less and that's why pressure will be more. So easily by means applying less amount of thrust, less amount of force also, one can cut anything very easily. That's why the nails or any fixing object or any cutting tools are having very sharp edges. Okay, and then the next is how you can decrease the pressure. You know that the examples are there. What we want to decrease the pressure means when you consider a heavily loaded truck, you will see that heavily loaded truck, they are not having 4 wheels, rather they are having 8 wheels, 12 wheels, like that. Why? And their broader tires or broader wheels are used. Why it is used? Because when it is broad, then area will be more, then pressure exerted by the loaded truck on the road will be less, and that's why it will be able to easily move on any kind of road, okay, without producing any damage. Is that clear? Like that any animals, those who are heavy weight, just like elephant, they are having the legs, you will see that their feet are very wide, broad. Why? Just to decrease the pressure exerted by them on the ground, on the surface. They are standing or walking. Like that, you know that when a building is multi-storied, then the basement, the foundation of the building is made very broad. Why it is made broad? So to decrease the pressure exerted by the entire building on the ground. Alright. So these are all the ways either we can increase or decrease the solid pressure. Remember, I repeat, these are all the examples of pressure exerted by solids. Now I will discuss pressure exerted by liquid or fluid. Fluid means which can flow, means liquid and gas together is known as fluid. So you can apply the same concept for instead of liquid, fluid also, means instead of liquid, gas also you can apply this. So let us consider that we have taken a liquid in a container and you want to find out the pressure at this point. Okay, then how you can find out? You just imagine that as if there is a liquid column just above the point which is exerting pressure at this point. Okay, so you want to find out what is the pressure at the point X. Alright, so for that what you can do? You can assume that as if there is a liquid column, suppose it is PQRS above X. Okay, this liquid column is exerting pressure at the point X. So what you can write? That first of all you can write thrust acting on the surface PQ. Alright, what will be the thrust acting on the surface PQ? It will be nothing but, look at the diagram, weight of the water column above PQ. Isn't it? This weight of this water column. Now how you can find out what is the weight? Let us consider this is the height of the height of the water column, and let us consider H is the height of the water column, and let us consider that A be the cross sectional area. A is the area of the water column. Is that clear? And let us consider D be the density of water. In place of water, you may take any liquid. Density of water column Okay, then you see how you can find out weight of the water column. Weight of the water column is mass into G. I hope you can remember. Weight of a body is mass into G. Now, mass you can write down as volume into density. Alright, now what is the volume? Volume is area into height. Is that clear? Then density D into G. So what is the thrust acting on the surface? This is AHdG. So what will be the pressure at the point X? Pressure at the point X, it will be thrust on PQ divided by area of the surface PQ. Alright, so what is the thrust acting on PQ? It is AHdG. And what is the area of PQ? A. Then you see what you are getting? HdG. So, pressure exerted by a liquid is given by this formula. P is equal to HdG. Very, very important concept in physics. You are supposed to remember it lifelong. This is the expression for pressure exerted by a liquid, by a fluid. So, it depends on H. What is H? H is the depth of the point. What you can write? What is H I said? I am not writing it. You must write it down. Verbally I am saying. What does H represent? H either depth of the point, okay, or you can write height of the liquid column above the point. What you can write? What is H? I said depth of the point or height of the liquid column above the point. D stands for density of the liquid and G is acceleration due to small g is acceleration due to gravity. So you see from this one it is clear that pressure depends on three factors. What are the factors on which pressure exerted by a liquid depends? It depends on depth of the point, it depends on density of the liquid and it depends on acceleration due to gravity. So already I have discussed it that pressure exerted by a fluid is given by P is equal to HdG. So the factors on which pressure exerted depends on depth of the point from the free surface. So if H is more, P is more. Then next factor is density of the liquid D. So if D is more, P is more and vice versa. Then it depends on acceleration due to gravity G. If the value of G is more, pressure is more and vice versa. Okay. So actually it is coming from the fact that P is equal to HdG. Now, if you consider the liquid pressure, it obeys certain laws. Okay, there are 5 laws of liquid pressure. I have just noted it down. What is the first law? Inside the liquid, pressure increases with the increase in depth from the free surface. So you see, I have discussed that one. No, when H is more, P is more. So you see, this is the first law only. Just only statement is given in a different manner. Means if you increase H, if you increase the depth of the liquid, what will happen? Pressure will increase. That is the first law. Then what is the second law? In a stationary liquid, pressure is same at all points on a horizontal plane. What is the meaning? This diagram you don't have to draw. This is for your understanding. Suppose you have taken a liquid. Now you have chosen a horizontal surface. Now if you take different points on the horizontal surface, then you will see at all these points pressure is same. So pressure is same at all points on a horizontal surface. Then what is the third one? Pressure is same in all directions about a point inside the liquid. What is the meaning? That if you take a point inside a liquid, then pressure is acting from all direction, and not only that, same pressure is acting from all direction. Alright, this is the meaning of the third point. Then what is the meaning of the fourth point? That pressure at depth is different in different liquids. It increases with increase in density of the liquid. In the factors affecting the liquid pressure, I said no. When D is more, pressure is more. When density of the liquid is more, pressure is more. So that is the statement given here. Means if you increase the density of the liquid, the pressure will increase. If you decrease the density of the liquid, pressure will decrease. Then the next one is that a liquid 6/8. Now what is the meaning of the fifth law? That a liquid seeks its own level. Just you consider, suppose you have taken this are the different container, you see different shape they are having, and this is one container, this is one container, this is one container, this is one container, all are interconnected. Here although I have drawn the diagram very casually, so it is not looking like horizontal one, but they are kept on the horizontal level, okay, horizontal ground, and all of them are interconnected. Now if you fill up liquid, then you will see that don't think as it is a narrow, so the liquid level will be high. As it is a broader area, broader base, the liquid level within this will be less. No, not like that. It is independent of the area of the base. You will see the moment you will fill up all the containers or one container by a liquid. If you pour liquid in one container, then as they are interconnected, all will be filled up. And the nice thing is that you will see, irrespective of the area of their base, the height of the liquid will be same in all the containers. You just see all of them are having the same height of the liquid. It does not depend on the area of their base. Don't think as it is a broader area, so height of the liquid will be less, smaller area means height of the liquid will be more. No, not at all. It is the meaning of the fifth law that a liquid always seeks its own level. Now some consequences of liquid pressure. Now you will see that for certain depth, if you consider the pressure exerted by sea water and pressure exerted by river water, then you will observe that pressure exerted by sea water is higher than the pressure exerted by river water for the same depth. What is the reason? Very simple reason. Density of sea water is bigger than density of river water, and you know when D increases, P also increases. So pressure exerted by sea water is bigger than pressure exerted by river water. But don't forget to mention for same depth, means you have taken the point at same depth. The next consequences is the wall of a dam is made thicker at the bottom. Just if you consider the dam, the wall, if you go to the base, the wall in the thickness is increasing. Why it is increasing? Because we know when the depth will increase, pressure will increase. So you see in this column, look at the arrows. The length of the arrow is less, means pressure exerted in this layer is less. Then as the depth is increasing, pressure is increasing. So we make the wall broader so that it can withstand, tolerate, okay, the greater pressure. That's why it is made broader. So point wise I have written how to write down the answer in exam, that P increases, pressure increases with depth. So a thicker wall is needed to withstand greater pressure. As a result, the wall of a dam is made with thickness increasing towards the base. Okay, the thickness increasing towards the base. Clear? So this is the way point wise you can explain that this consequence, that wall of a dam is made thicker at the bottom, and it is better if you draw the diagram along with the arrows showing that pressure increasing with the depth. Small length represents small pressure and bigger length represent bigger pressure. Now water supply tank, I hope you have observed this, it is always placed high. Now why it is placed high? Because you see, if the height of the water tank is higher, then what will happen? More pressure you will get at the taps of the house. Okay, and that's why for good supply of water, the height of the supply tank must be or must always be few meter higher than the level at which you want to supply the water. Alright, so how to write down the answer point wise I have given. Okay, so you too write down point wise the answer and also learn point wise. Don't write the answer like history. Okay, point wise you must write the answer of each consequence. Now if you see the divers, when the divers dive in deep sea, they just wear a special kind of protective suit. Why? Now in deep sea, you know that pressure exerted by water is very high. So if you consider a diver without the protective suit, then the pressure of water will be bigger, much bigger than his blood pressure. So what will happen? It may happen the diver's body may just get squeezed due to this high pressure. Alright, so that's why a protective suit they wear so that they can tolerate, withstand that high pressure. That suit is made by glass reinforced plastic, and within the suit the pressure is maintained at 1 atmosphere. So these are the point-wise answer that why the divers wear a special kind of protective suit while diving deep sea. Now the last consequence of liquid pressure. You will observe that when a gas bubble formed at the bottom of a lake, it rises up, then the size of the bubble increases. It is very simple to understand. When it is at the bottom, pressure is highest. Okay, now when the bubble is rising up, then what is happening? The depth of the liquid column is decreasing, depth of the point is decreasing, so pressure acting on the bubble decreases. Now according to Boyle's law, pressure into volume is constant. Okay, what does it mean? That if you increase pressure, then volume will decrease, and if you decrease pressure, volume will become more. Okay, so what is happening when the bubble is rising up? Pressure is decreasing and volume is increasing according to Boyle's law. And as volume is increasing, the bubble becomes bigger in size. So this is the way point wise you must write down the answer. That's all for today. Thank you, girls.